If you think about getting started in entrepreneurship and you're worried about which business you should be doing and how to juggle it all with a family life, stay tuned. Cona, thank you so much for joining me. If anyone doesn't know about you, give us a quick introduction. Tell us about yourself.
I had my first kid in 2021. It made me want to stay home and work from home. I went through that YouTube rabbit trail of work from home junk videos. I stumbled upon selling on eBay shortly after Amazon. Amazon just took me to another level. I'm really grateful for it. Now I'm into like Walmart Marketplace. I've thought about Etsy. That is probably in the near future. I'm doing Amazon review videos now. I'm sure there's something else I'm living out here. I've tried it all. Anything new that pops up that I'm starting to see people I trust in the social media space mention something, it's worth looking into. So that's kind of brings me here now. I did have my second kid about 6-7 months ago. So now I have two. And doing all of this, and I also run a community, a Discord group as well. So I'm in a lot of places at once these days.
Honestly, I take my hat off to you. Walk me through the different businesses you've tried and the pros and cons of each of them.
I first started out with basic eBay selling. It was the easiest way to get accepted. I could do it immediately, and I went to garage sales. I did that probably for about 2 to 3 months, and then I stumbled upon Amazon. I started doing used books for about 3 weeks. Quickly realized this sucks. Margins were pretty good, but it was just, you never knew what you were going to get. You couldn't go back and reorder. I was on Facebook Marketplace. I lived by a college, so I was buying textbooks, and those were pretty good. I bought like a homeschooling pack. I remember made like almost $200 on that. That was awesome. And then I was like, okay, this sucks though. I'm over this. I want something more like easy in a way. I learned about clearance shopping at retail stores. So I went into Walmart. It was probably my favorite. I'd spend 3-4 hours, 3 times a week around. I really liked that. But then my kids started getting older. And so then I started doing OA. That was a little bit harder. Retail is easy in the sense you're really only competing in a certain region because things go on clearance and on sales. You can't get your hands on as much. Versus online, you're competing with everybody who has a computer. That was the biggest con. And it took me a while. I bought a lot of bad inventory because things tanked. So that was a pretty big hurdle to get over. But now I do mainly OA, and I'm now starting to get into some wholesale, probably about 5-10%. And I plan to do more of that, hopefully in the next few months. But right now I'm into Amazon review videos. That's taking my time. I'm building that up like 20 videos a day for 15 days to get me at 300. And I plan to get up to 2,000 plus. So this is just like the beginning. This is just me like skyrocketing now and trying to get to that end point. And then eventually that will be a little bit more like passive and a little bit more chill. And then I refocus onto something else, whether it's Walmart or some other adventure I want to get into.
So if someone is starting today, they're in the same shoes as you, but they've never done business before, which one would you recommend to start with first?
You're going online. You're doing online arbitrage. You're going to sources like Walmart.com, Target.com. You're finding things to flip online. The other thing, if you have the capital, so like I do have the capital if I want to do wholesale, I would reach out to like suppliers. At first, I think you should do OA because if you mess up, it's a lot less money you're losing. Wholesale, if you put in a 5,000 order and you mess up, that's a lot of money you just lost. So I would just say probably OA is the easiest one to start. And then once you get the hang of it, you're comfortable in your skills, I would probably get a little bit into wholesale just for the ease of purchase aspect. I'd love to be able to drop 50 grand at a wholesale order and not think about anything for the rest of the month. That would be awesome. Yeah. That's a goal of mine for sure. I think that's where I would start.
You said start off online arbitrage, buying online like Walmart, reselling on Amazon, for example. You mentioned wholesale, like what kind of factor would be the I'm ready to move into wholesale? Is it 50 grand?
Once you understand Amazon, you're comfortable in your buying abilities. Like your softwares, the Amazon marketplace. Then I would start looking into wholesale. Once you have at least $5,000 to $10,000 you can spend per month. At least $5,000. $10,000 is probably more than what you need.
Why didn't you say do the Amazon review videos? Because I thought that would be like, well, that sounds quite easy. There's no capital, it's just time. Obviously, you're doing it as well. Why not that?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. The only thing is, I guess it's the same with Amazon. I expect not to really see any money come in until about 2 to 3 months. It's on like a 60-day rollout. So if someone buys a product you reviewed, they watched your video, you get the commission, but you have to wait 60 days to get that money. And I'm assuming it's for returns because you don't get that commission anymore. You're looking at like a 2-3 month rollout. I would probably say do both. With Amazon, if you're doing FBA, you're probably looking at about a 30, 60 day turnaround time as well for your money at first until you get your like daily payouts going and you get like a flow going. If I'm going to reach my goal of making at least $5,000 a month on it, I mean, you can live off of that 100%. I just think if it doesn't work out for you, it's always nice to have a backup plan.
OA, maybe wholesale, whilst doing review videos, perhaps maybe buy stuff that you review, then you go and sell it. I don't know. Could you do that?
No,
Would it work?
do that. No, I actually just talked to my attorney about that, and it's a very gray area. It's like a catch-all Amazon has, and he said, "Is the like pros worth the cons?" And I'm like, obviously not, because if I can't sell, they could essentially deactivate me on both ends. That would be like a huge income I just lost, and I'd be like, oh crap, okay, time to invest everything into Walmart. Essentially is what would happen with that. So I don't want to put my account at jeopardy at all. There's plenty of other ways to get your review videos without having to review the videos you like, the items you sell.
If you've like, okay, I don't want to do OA, I don't want to do wholesale, I don't want to do review videos, then what next?
I would honestly do eBay. See if you like eBay, because that's what I started with. If you don't have as much capital and you want to be making money like ASAP, eBay is the way to go, because there's no turnaround time. You do it all yourself. So there's no FBA, nothing like that. It's just you take the pictures, you list it, and then you wait for the sale to come in. The only thing is you kind of have to watch a lot of YouTube videos and learn what should you be looking for. When I was selling on eBay, I would watch at least 5-10 videos a day of other resellers going into thrift stores, garage sales. So I knew what brands and things to look for.
Have you got anything like what's next? What's coming up in the secret sauce after the review videos?
Well, I did want to, do a little bit more into Walmart, but something I have had on my mind for a while is doing some private labels. So I have 2 products specifically in mind that I want to get done that I haven't really jumped on. So that's kind of in the back burner. It's been in my mind for probably about 6 months now, at least. So I may get into that. I just know, again, that's something that's a little bit more time consuming, a little bit more money has to be thrown in. I haven't dived into it. And I actually did reach out to a patent attorney about it. So
time, let's come to that. How do you balance it all? Tell me the hacks, the tricks, the way does it work for you?
The hacks, honestly, from the very beginning when I first decided I was going to do something like this, there was no failing. My husband was like, you can try it, but you have like, a month or 2. And if you can't make it work, then like you have to go back to working at, the grocery store, which is where I was working. In my head, I was like, no, I'm going to make this work. Like there was no doubt in my mind. Like when I did Amazon, I was like, no, I'm going to do this. Like even when, it sounded crazy, I didn't know anyone who did anything like this. My mindset has always been, I'm going to make it work one way or another. And I think mindset comes into play, especially when you have kids. You feel like you have no time. No, you have time. It just is not the time you may want. You're not going to get a solid 4 hours to work. You're going to get 30 minutes here. Then you may get an hour here. Oh, my kid's watching Land Before Time. Yeah, sure. You get an hour and a half now. So that's how my days are structured. It's just like little nuggets of time. Sometimes I get a nice chunk of time, and then other times it's the end of the day and my husband comes home and I'm like, I just need 2 hours. Let me just sit down and I get what I can done. The easiest way that I found to keep on track is I actually just use the calendar in my phone, not like anything fancy, like the Apple, just like the basic calendar. And I just write down what I want to get done for that day. And when things don't get done, I just move them to the next, or I can categorize and say, okay, what's the most important on this list? Okay, this is going to be the most important. Or, oh, I have 20 minutes. What can I get done in 20 minutes? And that's what I work on. So it's really flexible. There's no, okay, from 8 to 10, I'm going to source. And from like, if I did that, I'd lose my mind because I'm never going to hit those marks. And I just feel like I'm always failing. Figure out what you do need to get done. Like write it down like in your phone. So that way you can always change it. Cause I'm always changing what I'm doing based on what is that day actually looking like. I make sure that I don't put 2 things in there that are really big things. So I would just know I'm not going to get those both done in that day. So I'll look at my week and I'll say, okay, look, I only have 2 things for Thursday. I'm going to put this on Thursday and I'll try to get it done then. And that's what it looks like.
And how does it work? Like, can I ask with you and your husband? Like you said the great thing, like when your husband comes home and is like, I need 2 hours. How does that arrangement work? Or how did you come to that? Like, I'm sure he comes home from work and he's like, man, I just want to relax. And he's like, no, I've got to look after the kids.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. And so I try not to do it. I try to, when like he gets home, we like have dinner together. So we have an hour of just like hanging out. And I'm like, okay, it's like maybe 9 o'clock. I'm like, give me an hour or so. And then it's a little bit more chill because maybe he just watches TV with them or something. Some days, like now we have a structured, because he works like a 5-day week essentially. So one of the days that he's off, like I essentially get half of that day to do what I need to do. So that's a really big time block. So usually I take time to like work in my garage. Cause like I said, I'm trying to get rid of all this stale inventory, eBay stuff. So I'm trying to work through all that junk and get it out. if I need to get something done that morning and something shorter, I'm like, oh, I need to make a YouTube video. So it's very just subjective. Every week is something new. And I'm just like, hey, you go in at 12. At 9 that morning, I'm going to make a YouTube video. So I need like 30 minutes. And he'll be like, oh, okay. And so I just pop in and out. That's kind of how that works.
Can you describe a typical day? Like, what time do you wake up? Run me through the day. What time are you happy to, like, and what time do you go to bed? Like a typical normal day.
I'm going to say 3 days of the week, because the other 4 days are just, I couldn't even tell you, like it's so variable. But I would say a normal day when my husband's at work is get up around 8:39, have breakfast, probably it's about 10:30, 11. I'm on the computer for about 30 minutes to an hour. Then I have to go. So I'm like playing with them, going outside, whatever. Come back in, have lunch. And then I usually get about a 1.5 to 2 hour time frame. My toddler, he's watching TV. He watches a movie. He gets a movie a day. And then I have the little one with me in the office. After his movie, we play. Dad comes home, and then I usually get an hour again. That's it. That's really it. Without my husband here, I usually get, on a good day, 4 hours. 4 hours is really pushing it, but usually 3. I get at least 3 hours of like good time on the computer.
That's amazing.
Well, I do. Luckily, some of the things that when I have to like be with them, I could like check my phone. So like that's usually the time I'm like replying to DMs on Instagram or my group. I'm making sure no one's asking any questions in there. Or if I'm like, oh, I need to post leads, like I do that during that time because I already have like the preset of stuff I'm posting. I do work within the other time frames, but it's very sporadic. So it could be like 5 minutes. And I'm like, oh, let me post these leads real quick. And that's like 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm outside while my kid's playing out on the trampoline. It's not the only time I'm working, but those are the only like solid blocks. Then the rest is just like, oh, I'm 8. Like that's more social, like media time is like in between those blocks.
If anyone's in the same situation as you right now and they want to start the entrepreneurial journey, but they do feel that time pressure, what kind of advice can you give them?
Just do it. Like, I'll take it right out of Nike's playbook. Literally just do it. Like, don't think about it. Your situation is what it is, and you're going to make it work. No matter what that looks like. If that means an hour a day, you're going to figure out Amazon, then it's an hour a day. And that's what you get. But like, not doing it isn't helping anybody. Like, you just have to start it. I think that's like always the biggest thing is people think, oh, well, they want to talk so much about it. But I'm like, dude, just do it. And if it doesn't work out, okay, well, at least you tried it. I always tell people who ask me like, oh, what do you need for Amazon? Did you do this? I'm like, just take it like for what it is. Like, just grow with it. Don't worry about, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? Wait to get to that hurdle. Don't make hurdles before you need to jump over them. Like, just go over the ones you need to do. So if it's just like learning how to sell on it, that's all you're going to do. Don't worry about if, you get the wrong product back from FBA, like that time will come when that happens, but learn how to solve it when you actually get to that point. Like, don't make issues for yourself that don't currently exist.
Obviously, thank you so much for everything you've shared. And obviously, you're an inspiration, and I take my hat off to you because I think what you are doing and what you've achieved, given the time constraints you have, is incredible. I need to also work on myself. And I look forward to catching up with you, hopefully in like a year, and seeing how you're getting on with maybe Walmart and everything else in the next journey of your life.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.